Welcome, everybody. This is Coach CoachDataInspires.com with Stephanie McHugh, and we are so happy to have you here today on Business Inspirations. That's right. We are here to inspire you to do great things in the world, and we can't think of anybody better but funny lady, Stephanie McHugh. Thank you, Stephanie, for being here on this fabulous Tuesday morning. Woohoo! How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's
Oh,
good to be
this is great. This is great. We need more women, and we need more funny peoples. And so you fit both of those
right.
criteria. So
This
very
is not
good.
a time to be funny, so this should be good. This is
Yeah.
we are meeting at 9 in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yes, yes. Well, those East Coast people, they're ready for lunch. So they need
that
a little humor.
they need it. That we're here for them.
See,
Yeah.
we're just givers.
We're
I
givers
I
and we're givers.
I think we're givers. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So speaking of time, we're in this COVID time. Yeah. And I call it the honeymoon phase back when it first started, like in March and
Yeah.
April, when this whole thing was going to be, 2 or 3 months, and then we'll be back to normal. Well, we're not. And so what do you see going forward? Do you have a feeling for how businesses and entrepreneurs can be uh, doing things right now?
I keep thinking back to Friends when Ross is moving the couch and he keeps yelling to the other two, pivot, pivot. It's just, we have to keep pivoting. I have a feeling from my own stand-up comedy that it's not going to be normal, or I don't know, whatever the new normal is, for another year, quite frankly. And the longer that the economy is hurt, it kind of hurts stand-up comedy a little bit too, because people don't have as much, well, it goes back and forth. Sometimes they don't have as much money, but also they really want to laugh. So it kind of rises up and they're like, we need to go out.
Yeah,
So I feel like we have another year of this potentially. And
right.
just kind of roll with the punches. It's hard. I guess I want to be the person. I've been struggling a little bit, but it's okay. I don't know. It's a weird kind of dynamic a little bit, you just, I've had some other things too. My dad has been sick, but it's been a good experience in just rolling with the punches, just kind of getting up and going with it. I think it's going
Right.
to come on, but I think it's a new environment. So then how
Right.
can you adjust to that?
Right. And I have taken to calling it the new reality instead of the new norm, because I don't think it's ever going to be back to what we thought was normal, whatever normal is for everybody. I just
Yeah.
think whatever it's going to be, this is going to be our new reality of how we function moving forward. And I think
Exactly.
a year's not a bad thought, actually, when you think about that. Makes sense. Absolutely makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, so, when, we're talking to entrepreneurs, business owners, and other variety of folks out there in Facebook Live land. So what do you think? Can you see some direction for the entrepreneurs and business owners? What should we be doing right now? I love the pivot thing. That's hysterical now that you say
I
that.
just
Like,
keep hearing that voice
yeah,
in my head.
yeah, I
Pivot,
see that.
pivot.
Pivot. And everybody else going, no, shut up. But so what can we do? What can we do as business owners to make this better? Look at a new direction. What could we be doing?
Yeah. Well, I guess I would take the view from a comedian's mind, in that you want to be relatable to your customers. So write down, and I found this too, like when it first started happening, I didn't really find it funny. But I would write down things that happen, and you kind of pay attention to people's pain. And keep track of that a little bit. I have Evernote, I have voice memos. So if a lot of times it'll come to me in the car or in the shower. So I can just say, hey Siri, write down masks. People look funny underneath their masks. Because I've now been in certain situations where I've met people with masks and gotten to know them, and then like at break, you're socially distanced, but you see them without their mask, you're like, that's not what I thought was down there. I didn't know you were British. What's going on, there? So there's pains that we all are going through, and just kind of keep track of those, because those are sort of the stories that you can share that sort of make you relatable to your, I say audience, but your clients, your clientele. When you go back out there to market, show that you empathize with their situation, and that you are not just sort of going by January 2020. You've sort of pivot. That's the word, Dana. And
Pivot.
Yeah, to sort of set you apart, I feel.
Right. And there's a saying, and I'm probably not saying it right, so I'll paraphrase it. Something about tragedy plus time equals comedy. You know, and so yeah, COVID is not funny. This is not funny at all. But with some time, some of the pieces can be funny later on. And I think that's a great way of saying it. Yeah, yes. I like what you're saying. And so your idea is for all of us, as things come up, as we see things, I tell my speaker coaching clients to write down stories. You write, and you may just go, oh yeah, 5 years old teddy bear, and just that's all you need to write down, and that will spark that memory. And so it's kind of the same thing. Are you saying maybe just like you use a voice thing, just keep a list?
Yeah, keep a list. Exactly. Right. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's good. Yeah. And because in just everyday conversations with your clients, with your people that you work with, and you may be a solopreneur, and you're by yourself in your office all day, other than your dog or cat as your assistant. But when you talk to someone who's doing printing for you, or your web person, or maybe you have a virtual assistant, you could throw in some of that humor with them and make their life a little better too.
You can, yes. And here's the other thing that doesn't really go to humor per se, but ask them how they're doing. I've noticed one or two people had said that, like, how are you doing? Made eye contact with me, like strangers when we were, said, how are you doing right now? And there was something really I just saw a dog hair. Speaking of assistants, my assistant's hair flying in the air. It was just kind, and it was, there's the opening, like, hey, how are you doing? Stuff like that. But someone who really looks you in the eye and goes, it meant a lot to me. So I've been trying to do that too. Like, for example, I'm going to a wedding. It's like my first thing. My daughter's best friend is getting married in Oregon, and I bought with points, and then they shifted around my flight, so I couldn't make it home. They sent me to San Francisco instead of Denver. So I called, and then I asked her at the end, I'm like, I hope you're doing okay. I know the airlines are getting hit really hard. How are you doing, Wanda? And it makes a difference. I think really connecting with someone and then trying to sort of find their pain point or your pain point and find a little bit of laughter. And if you can't, because I'm speaking to myself right now, Dana, not anyone else, because I found that I didn't find things funny, and that was a little it was very alarming, actually, when it first started, because I never took for granted that I had 2 kids, that I was able, that they were healthy. I always was incredibly grateful. But you know what I did realize this year that I did take for granted is being able to get on a stage, whether it be an open mic in a bar or, a theater. I always thought that I could get on stage and make people laugh. And this is the first time in like 18 years I've only been on stage. I was on stage 36 times in March on a cruise ship performing comedy. And then I think it's been 3 times. That's crushing. Exactly. So that has been an adjustment. So if you are adjusting, just be curious. Try not to be doom and gloom, which I can find myself doing. But then I stopped that real fast. I stopped that. And then just how writing jokes. Don't put the pressure on. Just be curious. How can we, what's going on here? How can we adjust?
Right. And I do think it's important to sincerely ask others, how are you doing? And I think that also helps. You said, I'm talking to myself. And I think that's the same thing. Like if I were to, you walk down the hall, I go to the YMCA, I walk down the hall, hey, how's it going? Yeah. Hi guys. You do that.
Right.
But, and that's all the, coming and going stuff. But to really say, how are you? And then have that conversation. I think it's helping them, but it's also helping us when we ask that question. I think it's giving us a connection as well that we miss.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. We all have our masks on and just sort of this barrier in between us. And it almost feels like I really can almost feel the little shot of dopamine, whether I'm saying it or whether, someone's asking me. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so. So you are a comedian. You have to look at life very differently. Is that true? You're not just I know you don't look at life like my dear husband, engineer, John. So you've got to look at things a little wonky. Is that possibly a good word or a bad word for you?
Yeah, no, wonky is a great word. Yeah. You look at things differently. You kind of look, you don't shy away from the pain points. You look where, if I'm doing a show or a corporate event, I want to find out what is their, what's the pain. I'm trying to find another word for that. What's annoying? It doesn't necessarily have to be pain. What's annoying, what's weird, what's different about this group, what's going on. Like, for example, I just did the women's entrepreneur group, the Dames, and they opened a chapter in Scottsdale. So I talked to the 2 presidents in Scottsdale. And I said, so what is it about you? And they go, well, we're kind of snobby. Like, we're called Snotsdale or Snobsdale. And, they could not have been nicer in talking about it. And I thought too, I'm like, you can't make fun. Here's another little comedy secret. You can't really make fun of the people that are there per se. You got to make fun of the people. Like if you're in New York City, you don't make fun of New York City, you make fun of New Jersey. So I really didn't want to call them snobby. But yet again, it was an obvious thing. So I just said, I don't think they're getting it right. I think they're doing it bad, because you guys asked me for a latte. I don't think that's really snotty. You guys need to look in the thesaurus and get this down a little bit, because you guys could not have been nicer. So just be curious. Don't try to, if just what's out there, look for the pivot again, where can you shift it to be unexpected in the audience's view? That's what creates the laughter.
So have you always been funny? Like when you were a kid, did you do funny things and your parents were like, "Oh my God, she'll never have a real job. She's just a goofball"?
Yeah. Yeah, I was always funny, but I come from a funny family, too. So I would say what really made a difference is when I was 13, my best friend's dad was an alcoholic. We had just moved from Indiana to Durango, Colorado. And so I was sort of mortified, actually, that he would talk to her that way. He could be really belligerent. But I found that if I could make him laugh, that could change the tone of the room just like that. It was efficient. It was fast. So really, it kind of came from a way to control things, actually, to control an adult when you're a 13-year-old. But that's where I think the drive comes from to do it. I think it's important. I love to laugh. I love when you make someone else laugh. It just means the world to me when someone comes up after the show and said, "I was having such a bad day, thank you so much. That was fun."
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think that's a great way of thinking about it, is that you really do have the ability to change someone's outlook for, even if it's just that evening, you know.
Right.
I talk a lot about being kind. Be kind, be kind, be kind. I wrote this little book, You Have the Power of Kindness, and it's a compilation, which I love that word, such a great word, a compilation of stories about how kindness affects people's lives. And, if you just be nice to the guy that's giving you your coffee, be nice to the guy that's at the bank, the gal that's checking you out at the grocery store, whoever, if you're just kind to them, they're having a crummy day. They don't want to wear the mask. They don't,
Right.
they've been yapped at by how many people about why do we have to wear masks? And if you could just be nice to them for just those few seconds, what a relief.
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
does. Yeah, it's the simple things. I totally agree with you, Dana. That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love that. Thank you. I was at the grocery store, and John makes fun of me because, I just need one or two things and I'm there for an hour because I go up and down every aisle and I talk to all the employees and I know about their kids and their vacations, and that's how I shop. And
Right.
and so yesterday I was at the store, and what I needed was, I'm short, and what I needed was up on the very top, and it was way back. And
Uh-huh.
yes, I could have climbed on the shelf. I could have, but I kind of thought, no, probably not. This is probably not going to end well. So here comes one of the gals that works there. And I said, "Becky, I need help." And she goes, "I know you do, Dana, but we don't have that here." And, and it just,
Yeah.
it was so perfect. But she wouldn't have done that if I hadn't already had that rapport and that kind of connection. And
Exactly.
And of course, I told everyone in the store that she said that, and we were all just laughing hysterically. And the manager even went, "Okay, if it was anyone else, I would scold her, but for you, yeah, she's right."
Did she ever get it
Okay,
for you, though? Did she get it
I
for you?
I did get it. She climbed up.
All
She did
right,
the
good.
climbing.
Yeah.
I love it. Oh my gosh. Oh, anyway, enough of that. We have things to talk about. Is there a step, even the teeniest step, that anybody who's listening, anybody who's watching, anybody who wants to have any insight on what can they do to be funny, just one little step that you can give us that anybody can do?
Yes. Well, again, I already said it, but to me, I feel like be curious. I know when I do humor coaching, people kind of put so much pressure on themselves to be funny. And that tone or that pressure sort of is going to squash something. If you kind of just be curious, that sort of opens it up and find out. And if you can't find anything funny, take a shower. That's where ideas come to me. I'm telling you, just take a shower. It just sort of doing something other than thinking sort of releases the brain, and maybe something will come to you there. So be curious, take a shower, and see what happens.
Well, that's why, you'll be talking to someone, they go, I can't think of it. I can't think of it. And you always say, you'll think of it when you're driving home, or you'll think of it when you're brushing your teeth or taking a shower. And they're like, yeah, I'll text you when I remember it. Okay. Because you're right. Your brain's not so focused and has that relaxed. So, so you coach people to be funnier, which I love. Do you have any stories of great success? You don't need to use names, but someone who just was really struggling, but wow, they really found it.
Yeah, I actually was in a business course a couple of years ago, and my coach had challenged me to do a webinar. So I did a 4-hour webinar, and I would walk the mall. Actually, there was a mall right by my house that is a loop. It's a circle. So again, for my brain, it just helps to be walking or doing something. So I walk and think of the content that I was going to have for it. So I had all the things, and then we had where everyone would go up and talk about sort of their opening 3 minutes. And I noticed that a lot of them had incorporated some of the techniques that they used in my webinar. And it was so cool. At first you're like, I think that's, but then you see several people, get a laugh where when we had first started, they didn't. So that was really rewarding. And again, I love to make people laugh, but it is encouraged. It feels so good to share that with someone else and see the confidence when they, get it and can find the tools.
Yeah, I love it. I just think I do love when people can either share something they couldn't share, laugh when they couldn't laugh, and when they can find that humor when before they couldn't. I think that's really great. And you have that way of you don't drag it. You very sensitively. Is that a word? Sensitively?
It is, Dana.
It is now. Oh God! All my Toastmaster friends are going, Mac or Marion. What's that word? But with great sensitivity. That's what you pull things out of people, and I think that's where you really shine. You're really, not only are you funny, you know how to get people to open up. So I think that's great. And this has been so much fun, and our time is just racing to an end here. And I know, what the heck? What the heck, man? So you were talking about, going to this wedding with this, the airport, and this was your first foyer out. And I haven't been on a plane since this whole thing started, and I'm twitchy. I am very twitchy. I need. So we took a drive instead. So, you drive 7 hours. Normally you'd get on a plane and not even think about it. Now it's like, I don't care. I'm going to drive. It's 8 hours, 10 hours. I'm driving, babe. I don't care.
Well, exactly. You talk about, I don't think it's ever going to go back. And when I was on a cruise ship for 3 weeks in March, and we went code red the last 3 days where we couldn't shake hands with people. We could only do elbow bumps. Mm-hmm. But there were 6,000 people on a cruise ship. You were in constant contact. And I just sit there and think, it's going to feel weird. That's not going to feel normal. I hope that feels normal at some point. But I don't think it's going to feel normal for a long time. I don't know when that will be able to happen again. I do feel like it will. But it'll.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when this whole thing started, I think you were on the cruise ship and I was at a conference, and, it was a fairly modest conference as far as numbers, but it was all these very high powered people. What I was doing there, I really don't know. I had to scratch at the door for them to let me in. And everybody was starting to talk about this, and I live in Wyoming. And those who know Wyomingites, we are, even though I was born in Southern California, lived for years in the Denver area, I am now a Wyomingite. And so I just said, well, if there's some virus coming into Wyoming, we just shoot it. And it was a joke. There were some people who were quite not happy with that. And I'm like, oh, sorry. But that's generally what we do. If we don't like something, we just, get rid of it. We don't. So anyway, and Wyoming,
that's where you come up with the tag. I say keep that line and then come up, with the tag. That joke kills in Wyoming, or that joke,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But, yeah, it's
I
funny.
like it.
Needs another thing at the end to sort of disarm them again if they feel.
You and I will do some coaching. I have to come and see you then. That's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I know we just have to. I think a gal, Jackie, was my roommate, and she was like, "Oh, do you think this table is clean? Oh, do you think this is clean?" I'm like, "Oh, shut up, Jackie. We've been in this room for a week. If we got it, we've already got it. So don't worry about it." But it was just such a weird thing to be in with all these people and then suddenly poof.
Yeah.
Just, how odd. So all of our viewers, they're going through the same thing as we are. My dear friend Patty, she's stuck in a foreign country because their airports are shut down. And what do? You just it's been a tough ride for a lot of people. So we want to definitely let people know how to get a hold of you if they are interested in learning about getting funnier or just being funny at all because they're an engineer. Oh, I said that again. Oh my gosh. And I have so many good friends that are engineers and they know I love them dearly. Anyway, this is how you get a hold of Stephanie McHugh. She is very funny and she is a great coach. I can tell you that right now. So if you have any questions, you want to reach out to her, this is how you can contact her. And if I can be of any service to you as well, just here's my contact information. So please feel free to get a hold of me, or certainly if you want to learn how to be funny or talk to Stephanie. She is a great resource and she can help you out. So Stephanie, thank you so much for being here. This has been such a joy, and just cannot wait to bump into you again live, even if it's an elbow bump. We're looking forward to that.
Thank you for having me. And to everybody out there, I hope you're doing well. I hope you feel safe, and I hope you are safe and that your family is okay, and work and everything.
Right.
Thanks for
absolutely. Thank you, Stephanie. And everybody, have a great week. We'll see you next Tuesday on Business Inspiration. See you later. Thank you, Stephanie.
Bye.